Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. So Ethereum has sort of found a local low here when I made my last video, but the move up since the low, which was created here at where were we, 1240, the move up is not convincing at all. I mean, what we did in this possible 1-2 setup that we have here, wave 1 to the upside in 5 waves, and then wave 2 to the downside in 3 waves. Even though that could obviously be finished, we should really wait for a 5-wave move to the upside to confirm that. At the moment, I don't see a 5-wave move to the upside. I have to be very honest with you. It doesn't look like it. Looks like rather a 3-wave move, and maybe we've got here some kind of maybe we had here a small 1-2. This was a 3. This might be a 4, and then we come down once more in a wave 5 off C, off Y of 2 before we find a low here and move up. But yeah, you know, this is just speculation. So at the moment, this move up looks like 3 waves, and the move down looks quite impulsive. So I'm not really convinced that we are going up from here. What happened though is we broke back into this channel, so you can see that descending channel, 2 parallel lines when connecting the wave 5 here and the B wave. That's sort of how you draw these channels in Elliott Wave, corrective price channel. We had a throw under here, so we came below the channel. This is sometimes a signal that this correction is finished, especially if you then break back into the channel. And yeah, we broke back in. We are retesting the channel from inside, so hopefully flipping resistance for support. And if we now can move up and break above the 1257 level, I think that would be a first signal that the low is really in here. It would be a weak signal. First of all, we also need to get it back above the B wave high at 1283, and that would be a signal that can make us quite confident that the low has been put in here. But yeah, that is really everything we can talk about here at the moment. I mean, unfortunately, we are still below this ascending trend line. Yeah, you've got that on the Bitcoin chart as well. We've got enough touch points. We had a touch point down here, have several touch points here, and here we lost the trend line. So it looks a little bit like that we retested it from below as well. So again, you know, we're hovering above one trend line, we're below another one, and all we really need to wait for is a 5-wave structure to the upside. Ideally, a break above 1250, 1257, 1258, and then above the B wave high as well at 1284. Then we have a chance to get above 1308, and this could take us then to around 14 to 1500. This is still the short-term upside potential we have here on the chart, where, oops, didn't want to move that box, where, and I'll take that trend line out, don't need it, where we expect that this here was a wave 1 off the low, we came down in a wave 2, we're now in this wave 3 to the upside, and then there should be a 4 and a 5, and within this wave 3, the current assumption is that this was a 1, and we are now, we're 1, and that we have completed a wave 2 here, and this is the next 1-2 setup of the next wave 3, which should send us higher, but obviously the bulls need to create a 5-wave structure to the upside, 3 waves down. We need to break those resistance levels that I mentioned, and as long as we're holding the yellow support area, we can go with the current wave count, but as I explained to you, that this smaller 5-wave structure to the upside and the 3-wave move down, so the impulsive wave structure to the upside, will get very unlikely to still work out if we drop below the 1236, 1237 level here, the 78.6% fib level. If we really lose this support area, the yellow one, then we are going into the next higher level wave count, and I have to assume that this white wave 2 was never finished. It's a similar situation on the Bitcoin chart. It doesn't necessarily create a bearish setup. It just means that we have to reset this wave 2, and because we didn't make any substantial higher highs since this low, we can then still assume that this correction is still ongoing. It would be a very long correction, longer than ideal, and we also have, unfortunately, then a 5-wave structure to the downside, but we can still consider this, what we currently count as a WXY pattern, we can consider this as a WXYXZ pattern, which is an extended correction. It is very rare, And however, we could still consider that a correction as long as we're holding above 1185. But below 1185, I think we could really come down to $1,000 and maybe even below. This is a very critical support level, the 1185 level. The problem with that WXY-XZ structure, it can be counted as a correction, but it could also easily be a leading diagonal to the downside, which is a 5-wave structure to the downside. And that is why I don't like these WXY-XZ patterns. They are very unreliable and very, very rare as well, because they can equally well be counted as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leading diagonal to the downside, which would eventually lead to a sell-off down. So it's a pattern we ideally avoid. So ideally we turn around now in this yellow support area and push higher. If we don't, then we probably have to go with this. But then we also have suddenly a bearish interpretation, which considers this a 5-wave move to the downside, which could then retrace to the upside before really breaking down. So let's see. I think we see a lot of uncertainty in the market also because of possibly CPI data coming up tomorrow. And at the moment we have a situation where we really have a fight between the bulls and the bears. We really have. That is indicated by this very, well, there is quite a bit of volatility going on here in this kind of range here. We had here the situation when we came down that the bears could have easily taken control to push it below the green support area. However, the bears failed miserably. We had a very strong increase back to around 1290. So the bulls were back in control. Then we came down here in an ABC. We hit the yellow support area. From here, the bulls had the chance to push higher. They failed after 3 waves. They tried again, only 3 waves. And now we come down very impulsively. And the bears could get into control when they push the price far enough down. At the moment, it's still an ongoing fight. You need to understand the key pivot points, the decision points, the invalidation points, which I made you aware of. And ideally here we push up from here. The longer this movement takes, this correction, the less likely will be a bullish outcome, at least short-term bullish, because you know you're losing the momentum after a while. You lose the momentum that becomes visible if we take a look. Let me just. So here, this becomes visible if we take a look at the MACD, which is a momentum oscillator. We currently lose bullish momentum here on the daily MACD. Yeah. If this results in a bearish, I mean, we had nearly achieved a cross above the 0 line here, and that is actually a bullish signal. You can see how neutral the RSI is as well. So there is a lot of uncertainty, and the longer this stuff takes, the more difficult it gets for momentum to be kept to the upside and bullish, because at the moment, since the top here, we are losing bullish momentum, and at some point this may result in a price drop. The 2-day chart is now also starting to reduce bullish momentum. It's not in the red yet. The 4-day chart is still pushing higher, but it obviously starts on the 1-day, 2-day, and will then morph into the 4-day chart. And if on the 1-day chart we now see a bearish crossover, that might really push the market down and give it additional momentum to the downside. If we zoom out here a little bit, I mean, you could still consider that some kind of a bullish flag here, not a very beautiful one. But yeah, I mean, the support areas I gave you, they are relevant. It all comes down to, do we hold these now or not? My interpretation is, as long as we're holding the yellow support area, we can focus immediately on higher. If we lose the yellow support area, we're going to fall back into the green area, which is very close to the yellow one. But then below 1185, we're probably gonna get the bears in full control here. Okay, and that's my update about Ethereum. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.